Hey there, welcome back into Occupy Democrats on a fabulous Sunday, hopefully for where you are. But in this breaking story, we have to go to the cliche, old dog, new tricks. We all know that cliche, but it's something that Donald Trump literally does not have the ability to learn, because when you live a life in a snow globe elitist bubble, there are just things you cannot fathom to consider. And the attack on Venezuela is going to have what I like to call unintended consequences. And that is the core of this breaking story, which I'm going to show you in just a few moments. And if you'd like to see Donald Trump out, please just subscribe to the channel. But in this breaking story, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, and Trump's bromance boy now, he and Trump are in serious trouble with regards to the truth and the reality of on the ground in Venezuela. And what you got is Trump saying this right after the attack here.
Going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
And right in behind that, a very powerful voice in America reminding Donald Trump of a couple of key things I call unintended consequences. This.
Inadvertently, Donald Trump has pulled the pin from a political hand grenade and it's about to go off. When Trump says we're going to run the country, we are not capable of running America. How are we going to be able to run Venezuela? And beyond that, rebuilding oil. Does that mean that there's going to be more oil that's going to be for sale? Well, what does that do about American oil exports, since we are exporting oil? And tell me how people in the Gulf and Saudi Arabia and the UAE are going to look at this when all this Venezuelan oil gluts the market. So there are economic issues here that have not been considered. But frankly, the notion of America taking over Venezuela is going to explode in our faces.
And then, of course, you have Marco Rubio trying to justify what we did and try not to make it sound too much like Gritty America and oil, talking policy, but he's leaving out a couple of key things that are the core of this breaking story.
The policy with regards to this, we want Venezuela to move in a certain direction because not only do we think it's good for the people of Venezuela, it's in our national interest. Everyone knows I'm pretty involved on politics in this hemisphere, obviously as Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, very involved in all these elements. And the goal of the policy is to see changes in Venezuela that are beneficial to the United States, first and foremost, because that's who we work for, but also, we believe, beneficial for the people of Venezuela. So it's stabilizing for the region and makes the neighborhood we live in a much better and safer place.
If you haven't paid attention to any American and global history for the last 300 years, when you disrupt something, it leaves a real gap immediately of opportunism for people who maybe are not such great folks. Well, that is exactly this breaking story because it's what's happening in Venezuela right now. Venezuelans are actually doing to Americans exactly what ICE is doing to Americans. Check this unbelievable story out right here. Breaking news, Dem lawmaker puts Marco Rubio on notice after Fox News report on disaster in Venezuela. A Democratic congressman put U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on notice on Sunday, noting a Fox News report that showed, quote, armed militias in Venezuela after the U.S. mission that took out the nation's leader. In an article called U.S. Warns American to Leave Venezuela Immediately as Armed Militias Set Up Roadblocks, the conservative outlet reported that armed militias known as colectivos are reportedly setting up roadblocks to search vehicles for evidence of U.S. citizenship. In quotes, as international flights have resumed, U.S. citizens in Venezuela should leave the country immediately, the embassy said, according to the Fox report. Democratic Rep. Ted Lieu seized on that report and used it against Rubio and even Trump, saying, quote, Dear White House and Rubio, you're doing such a great job running Venezuela that you are now warning Americans to leave Venezuela to escape armed militias. And you want U.S. companies to go to Venezuela? No way they will do that, the lawmaker wrote. Your Venezuela operation is a disaster, noted by his post on X below. The reality is, if you don't have boots on the ground and keep boots on the ground, what do you think is going to occur? If you go take away a strong armed leader, you not only have people who are pro that strong armed leader and people who are for Maduro, but you have a bunch of other folks who have access to guns and opportunity who are going to go try and extort anything they can out of a quote-unquote poor country that has been run poorly in Trump's administration's estimation, and also from the standpoint of just general citizens who were afraid or concerned, or just what we'd all call as human beings, smash and grab opportunity. And that's exactly what's occurring in Venezuela. And when, yes, we have our own State Department telling people, get out, then what have you really created by going in and doing what you just did? This is unintended consequences, but what it really is from a Trump standpoint is it's failed leadership because you're not looking at the macro vision of what you just did. Go back and watch the movie Charlie Wilson's War about what happened way back in Afghanistan in 1980, and that is a really good reminder of how stupid we commonly are with military actions in the U.S. government when we think we're going to run a country better for someone else than them. You guys like and share the video. Stay frosty.